people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everywhere you are. Today I'm here to talk about my story part 4. So I was discussing about on how I was able to lose 5 jobs in 1 year, and now I'm here to tell you the story, what happened to the point whereby I was able to lose that job that I lose in 1 year. What happened is that there was this job that there was a eclosion in a floor. And for those who work in healthcare, I think you understand when you say eclosion. Everyone was affected, the workers and even the patient. So that day there was that eclosion. It was my turn. It was 3 weeks to a month. That is when I also affected and contaminated with that eclosion. I just wake up one day, come back home from my shift, and then what happened is that I just wake up, I was vomiting and having diarrhea. So I called my boss and tell them this is what I am getting as a symptoms. And since it was a sickness known and it was in the floors or the floor, so they gave me 48 hours. And without 48 hours, it wasn't enough for me because I vomited a lot, more than 3 times. It was about 4 to 5 times that I vomited, and my chest was very painful. I was barely breathing. Even to stand for a long time, I couldn't make it. So what happened is that I have to explain to them that it should be hard for me to be present because I was feeling dizziness. Even to stand up, it was hard for me. They just said that I need just to make sure that I present myself at workplace. And then that day it was terrible for me because, as I'm explaining to you guys, it wasn't easy. Sometimes I just tell my workmate that I need to go a bit in the washroom to stand a bit so that I can rest because the dizziness was so big. Barely breathing, it was so hard for me, and then I couldn't withstand for a long time. Situation kept up. I just said let me go to the office and explain to them what was the situation. They never heard me. They just look at me like this and say, what do you want us to do for you? I told them that I'm not here to explain you guys what you have to do for me, but I'm here to tell you how I'm feeling, if it's possible for me to go home and then rest a bit for tomorrow. They never understood me. They said that if you are not feeling well, you just go to run to the washroom, wait there for about 2-3 minutes, then go back to your work. And that day I had an extra shift that I took because sometimes when you take those extra shifts, we don't know what will happen to that, guys. So I kept working the whole day. They never allow me to come home. And remember, when we have this 9 to 5, this job, when we do them, guys, when you lose it immediately, it affects you in another way. We still have to pay bills. Bills doesn't have excuses. So tomorrow when I went to work, this is what happened. I was able to lose that job. Why? They called me in private, which was immediate. I never expected, and that is how I was able to lose that job. And since I lost that job, when I came home, when I opened the letter, the things that they put in that letter, it wasn't even truth. This job, they said, instead of saying that this lady was contaminated from the sickness from workplace, they added and tell me that I was always late at workplace. I was able to lose that job. And so that they called me in private, because as soon as I got from workplace, I saw them. Somebody was out of the door from the room of the employees where we used to have dinner. She called me in private. She was explaining me to me, and she never had those wrong stuff. I tried to defend and explain myself. They never understood me because they want me to accept things that I didn't do, and I cannot accept something that I didn't do. So that's how I was able to be fired. And then I went to this other room. I took my jacket because it was winter time, my boot, and they fired me. And when I came home, opened that letter, they had things that wasn't even true to that letter. Until now, I still have that letter. I cried a lot and I was really disappointed. And that was the day that I started looking for plan B. I said no, I need something, because remember in the previous videos I used to tell you guys education was everything. Once you have your document, there's a kind of respect. once you start working, and I knew that is everything. I never knew that there could be plan B, that somebody could do it. But what happened to me that day, something entered into my mind, something picked me that no, I need a plan B. I need something. I don't need to depend on somebody 100%. Having a plan B is a necessity. I don't mean that you don't go and do job, don't work. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that don't go to school. Go to school. I went to school. School is very important in life. But what I mean, having a plan B is a necessity that so many people doesn't know. When I'm here to tell you these stories, guys, because maybe you have your own story that is different from me. Maybe you can relate something that is also shocking you when you put together with my story. Telling you my story is just to let you know there's a plan B out there. There's something that you can do instead of relying to that 9 to 500%, guys. So we go to part 5. In part 5, I'll be talking about how I was able to start searching for this digital business. So I will explain to you from traditional business, then we will go on, guys. Thank you so much. Bye. Stay tuned.